Who is the biggest Christian content creator in the world? Who comes to mind for you? I've been thinking about this question for a little while now, and I asked my Instagram audience who they thought the biggest Christian content creator was, and I got a bunch of different answers. Some gave me some with huge subscriber numbers, and I didn't even know who they were. Massive subscriber numbers. Other people gave me comedians. Other people gave me their favorite Christian content creators. What was interesting is that nobody came up with the same answer. And if you ask yourself who is the biggest Christian content creator, one of the most common answers was, I don't know. Now, if I asked you who's the biggest content creator outside of Christianity, like who's the biggest YouTuber or who's the biggest creator, Mr. Beast probably is one of the most common answers. The short, quick answer is that the biggest Christian content creator is the one that resonates with you the most. And it's a little bit subjective, but I want to take you through a study today where I take these 10 Christian content creators and we're going to put them through a series of criteria to evaluate who is the biggest Christian content creator. If you are new to this channel, and let's be real, most of you are, I have started many different YouTube channels with various levels of success. I also have gone on to work with huge Christian YouTubers like David Hernandez and have achieved over 100 million views doing so. I just want to share everything I've learned along the way. I also have my own YouTube channel called Fill of the Day that's got 25,000 subscribers that I'm growing currently right now. And I'm well aware that if I were to put my channel through the things I'm going to teach you in this video today, it is going to fall short on the deep relationship score. But I know all the areas that I need to improve in when I learn from these big Christian YouTubers, and I'm sure that after you apply all the lessons learned in this video today, you will be able to assess your own channel so you know where you can grow to. So with that out the way, let's get into the video. What defines big? What makes someone a big Christian content creator? How deep and how wide is your relationship with your audience? I think one of the main goals of a Christian content creator is to build not just a wide relationship with an audience, but a deep relationship with an audience. I would say that it's better to have a small following with a very deep connection than a wide following with a very small connection. And relational wealth is something you can build for free, which is amazing. You just need to put love and time into it. And it's something that we all have control over. Why do I think relationship is the biggest goal as a creator? Well, let's look at that. Have you ever noticed someone like a Christian content creator with a large following that maybe became popular through shorts? But you look at their long form views and their views are very low. You don't know who they are, what they stand for, what their mission is. They couldn't move you to buy something, attend somewhere, do something, because the relationship with that primarily shorts audience is it might be wide and a huge following, but the depth is very shallow. And so, whereas you might have a pastor or a minister who also creates sermon-based content. Now they might have a much smaller subscriber count, but the people who watch their content will watch for an hour. So they have an advantage with time spent. They can also go more deep on topics, and they can be more vulnerable in sharing personal stories. And so the depth of that audience is much better. And if they want you to attend a conference, buy a book, do something, they are much more likely to have success because of the depth of relationship versus the width and the following count. Now, how do you define a deep relationship with an audience? I have 10 key metrics I think you need to look at to evaluate your own connection with your audience, but also we're going to put 10 creators through those metrics and begin to evaluate their relationship score with their audience so we can rank who is the biggest Christian content creator. Now, if I were to go through every Christian content creator on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, this video would be hours long. So I'm just going to pick 10 people whom I know from my subjective experience, and I've kind of picked each one strategically because they represent a sort of type of creator, but I'm sure there's many more that I've missed. And when I begin to put a deep connection with their audience score, when I put them through my 10 key metrics, I'm not trying to take shots at creators that maybe fall at the bottom of this list. I'm just merely giving you a framework in which you can judge your own content through. And if you're someone that I have put on this list and you're watching this content, don't take my subjective scores as an insult. I'm not trying to put you down. My subjective opinion may be wrong. I might not be the perfect target audience that you are targeting. And so I might give you a low score where somebody else might give you a higher score. But if my score rings true to you and your content, don't take it as an insult. Take it as an area in which you can improve. And if you begin to try and improve these 10 different areas, your overall deep connection with your audience might improve. So with that out the way, let's look at the 10 key metrics we're going to put these top 10 creators through to discover who is the biggest Christian content creator. The first is personality. Do they have a likable personality? I think personality can go a long way with creating a connection with an audience. That's why I think someone like IShowSpeed is popular, or someone like Emma Chamberlain, very personality driven YouTubers or comedians are very personality driven, like Theo Von. There's an audience can resonate with you on a deep level based on your personality. Number 2, time spent with a creator. Now, it's no secret that the more time you spend with someone, the more you're going to feel like you know them, like them, and trust them. So time spent is a very important metric to evaluate when considering the deep relationship with an audience. Take Mike Winger, for example. He has videos that are 4 hours long that have 250,000 views, where the average view duration is probably close to 4 hours. Or you might have someone who's a podcast creator like George Janko. He might have a 2-hour podcast, and you might sit there and listen to him for 2 hours. Now, you can probably achieve time spent if you're a shorts creator, but you need to put out hundreds, thousands of shorts to get the same level of time spent as someone who puts out a long form video. And so time spent is definitely a key metric we're going to be looking at today when it comes to deepening that relationship with your audience. Number 3 is, I struggle to find a word to describe this bucket, but I would say authenticity. What I mean by that, do they know your origin story? Are you the same person on camera, off camera? Do you have opinions? Are you vulnerable? Do you share your life on a personal level? That's where I'm thinking of authenticity. There's no facade, there's no barrier, there's no stuff. Authenticity is something that can create a deeper relationship with your audience. Number 4, have people been personally transformed by your content? Are you a teaching creator? Do you teach stuff? Are you a mentor? Are you a coach? Are you a pastor? If the more someone is in a real sense transformed by your content, the deeper that relationship is going to be with those people. If I can attribute a life change to something or someone I watched, my relationship to that person or the level of connection I have to that person is massive. Are people transformed by a content? Well, then that is a key sign of deepening that audience connection. Number 5, do you have a mission people can get behind? Maybe you don't have a strong personality. Maybe you're not that vulnerable on camera. Maybe you don't share your personal life. But do you have a mission people can get behind? Well, if people have a mission that resonates with them and you are the front man for their mission, let's just say spreading the gospel. Maybe your entire thing is just to share the gospel, or you're trying to feed the poor, or Or are you just trying to make media content? Is it a mission that people can get behind? A strong mission can create a deeper connection with an audience. Number 6, do you have interaction with your audience? Is there a conversation happening? If I'm just a passive viewer of your content, my relationship is only this deep. But if I begin to comment, if I begin to interact in a live, if I meet you in real life, that depth of connection is immediately more stronger than a more passive viewer. So if you can encourage interaction, and this is where I feel like sort of live streamers have a very deep relationship, because it's time spent, but there's also interaction. They are constantly talking to the chat. The chat guides their decisions, conversations, actions, and that level of interaction is immediately deeper and stronger than no interaction at all. Number 7, consistency. I might have an hour-long conversation with someone one time in my life. That's better than no conversation. That's somewhat of a deep relationship, but consistency can make all the difference. If I'm talking to someone for 1 hour every single week, that depth of relationship gets stronger and stronger. So consistency is an important metric when it comes to having a strong, deep connection with an audience. If you're not consistent and you're not showing up, the level of relevancy in people's minds begins to fade, and your deep connection with that audience begins to dwindle. And so consistency matters. Number 8, understanding the audience needs. Are you creating content that directly answers people's questions, directly faces their challenges? You're directly targeting their interests, needs, wants, desires. If you have an answer to a question I'm asking right now, and I'm really satisfied with your answer, that relevancy to my needs creates a deep connection. So if you can really understand your target audience needs, wants, and desires, and create content that answers that, you will create a deeper connection with that audience. And number 9, the second to last metric we're going to be evaluating today is, do you make valuable content? Is it entertaining, educational, or both? Is it good content? Is the editing good, the quality good, the music good? Is there something about your content that is good? I think that's an important metric when evaluating who is the best Christian content creator. I think the quality of content matters. And lastly, the last metric is reach. How wide is their reach, and how deep is their reach? We're going to be looking at these 10 metrics today, and we're going to be rating these 10 Christian content creators and giving them a score from 1 to 5 on each metric. And then we're going to be looking at their subscriber goal as well as their view count. And by the end, we should have enough data to decide, at least on a subjective level, who is the biggest Christian content creator. You can also put your top 5 Christian content creators and score them with these metrics, and you might discover, surprisingly, who is number 1 Christian content creator for you. If you have, in your opinion, someone with a higher score than the people on my list, put them down in the comments below. I would love to know who you think the biggest Christian content creators are, and do a bit of research, score them and calculate their score, and let me know what they have achieved in your mind for you. So here are the 10 Christian content creators we are going to be looking at. We have number 1, Mike Winger. Number 2, What Do You Mean? Number 3, Ruslan. Number 4, Off the Curb Ministries. Number 5, George Janko. Number 6, Stephen Furtick. Number 7, David Hernandez. Number 8, Taylor Michael. Number 9, Dallas Jenkins, the director of The Chosen. And number 10, Joe the Christian Guy. Now, I tried to pick creators that were representative of a type of creator. Mike Winger, I'm going to be using him for sort of apologetics, Bible teaching. We've got What Do You Mean? He is sort of apologetics, but also does sort of YouTube essays now that are also sort of covers pop culture. You have Ruslan, which is a reaction, commentary, sort of news, pop culture style channel. You have Off the Curb Ministries, which is a evangelistic sort of, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, he's not, but he does very evangelistically outreach, pop culture, very interesting content. I think he does YouTube very well. George Janko is number 5, and he's a Christian podcaster. We're going to evaluate his numbers and his reach. We have Stephen Furtick, who I'm using him as an example of a pastor, maybe celebrity pastor, mega church pastor, or just a minister who is also a content creator. David Hernandez, he feels like a minister, but he's actually a media-based ministry, and there's quite a few Christian YouTubers or ministries that they might not necessarily be a pastor, but they have a very large media following. Talon Michael is primarily shorts-based creator, and there's quite a few creators like him, so I'm using him as an example. Dallas Jenkins, he creates Christian content, but maybe not in the most traditional sense of being a YouTuber, but it is Christian content. The Chosen series is Christian content. It was made popular through social media, and Dallas Jenkins is the personal brand and creator, front-facing creator of The Chosen. I would consider him a Christian creator. I would put Dallas Jenkins on the list. He might represent someone who's on social media as a creator, but not necessarily falling under the most perfect creator bucket. And lastly, we have Joe the Christian Guy, who he's primarily a short-spaced creator, primarily entertainment, and usually fun, Christian comedy type person. There's a bunch of creators like him who have large followings, who create Christian comedy, and so I'm just using him as a example of a larger group. And because when I asked my audience who's their biggest Christian content creators, a lot of people gave these comedians, and a lot of them didn't have large followings, not like 2 million, 3 million. A lot of them had 30, 40, 50, 60, 100,000 followers, but they deeply resonated with some people. So I think that an entertaining Christian creator should be on the list. What we're going to do is we're going to score a bunch of creators and see who I think the biggest Christian content creator is from my subjective opinion and my subjective perspective. First, we are going to go with Mike Winger. Now, Mike Winger has 818,000 subscribers on YouTube. When it comes to likable personality, I would give him a 3. I think he's pretty funny. I think his personality shines through. He's not like so exuberant or extreme that I'd give him a 5, like an iShowSpeed. He's not a personality-based creator, but his personality shines through. And so I'm giving him a 3 out of 5. For time spent with creator, he has videos that are over 4 hours long, and people watch a lot. Like, people watch the whole thing. I think he even has a video that's 8 hours long. It's just nuts. So time spent with creator, huge, up there. When it comes to authenticity, do we know personal stories, his origin stories? Does he share personal struggles from time to time? He does. I think he does. So I'm giving him a 4 out of 5. For personal transformation, are people transformed by his content? I would say very much so. He's theological. He's probably meaningfully changed people's lives. So I'm giving him a 5 out of 5 from the content that he's made. Number 5, does he have a mission people can get behind? Well, we know his mission, helping people think biblically. And so that's a mission people can get behind. 5 out of 5. Interaction with audience. He actually does live Q&As where he answers people's questions directly. So for interaction with audience, I'm giving him a 5 out of 5. For consistency, again, he's live most weeks, multiple times a week, puts out content, so I'm giving him a 5 out of 5. He's been consistent for years. Understanding audience needs, or creates content that addresses audience needs. He does that with his 10-question Q&A. Literally, people ask him questions and he answers it, so you can't get more pinpoint accurate than that. So I'm giving him 5 out of 5 for understanding audience needs. Good, valuable content. His content's not so much entertaining although it is entertaining when he's trying to take down other creators or exposing creators. Not that that is his meta, but when it comes to educational content, I'm giving him a 5 out of 5. And when it comes to reach, now I'm going to be evaluating this in two parts, width versus depth. I'm giving Mike Winger's width reach, how wide his reach is, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. He is quite niched, but he tries to be as broad as possible, so I'm giving him a 3 out of 5. But when it comes to depth, I'm giving him 5 out of 5. So with the audience that he does have, that audience goes deep. So Mike Winger's score for deep relationship is 50 out of 55, which is massive. Now it could be that I'm just the target audience, and so I resonate deeply, but I think you can objectively look as well and maybe come up with a similar score if you were to go through this yourself. Now let's evaluate, what do you mean? Now if I give you a low score and you're watching this and this is your channel, I am not trying to put you down. Take it as maybe there's room for improvement in this one area. Or maybe you are intentionally low in that area. It's okay to be strong in one area. Maybe you don't want to be vulnerable. Maybe you don't want to share your personality. Maybe you don't want to interact with the audience and you just want to maybe the score you get is exactly what you want. What Do You Meme has 513,000 subscribers. Before I give you his score, I think he's playing the game of YouTube very well, especially lately. Really good thumbnails, really good ideas. Right now, the thing we are evaluating, we're evaluating everything as a whole, especially when it comes to deep connection with an audience. So when it comes to likable personality, I'm going to give him a 2. Now, that's not because he doesn't have I'm not saying he doesn't have a likable personality. I'm just saying more that he doesn't share his personality as much. And everything maybe is a little bit more scripted, and so there isn't as much room for personality to come through. Might be by design, and man, I feel bad for giving you a 2, but I like you, but I'm just thinking on a more overall. Anyways, time spent with creator, I'm going to give him a 3. I find myself watching lots of his content. His videos are around 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 15 minutes. They're not quite like a podcast, which is hour long, and it's not like shorts. So I'm giving him a 3 out of 5 for time spent with creator. For authenticity, do you know their personal stories, their origin stories? I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5. So obviously he's not being vulnerable in every video, but he does be vulnerable from time to time. So I'm giving him a 3 out of 5. Are people personally transformed by his videos? Now, he doesn't really do educational content, and it's not full-on entertainment videos either. I don't think his content where he's commentating on pop culture is very life transformative. So I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5, but because he does try to share the gospel almost in every video, and I'm sure that has had some transformative effect on people's lives. I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5. When it comes to a mission people can get behind, I'm not maybe I haven't watched enough of his content. A mission statement doesn't stand out straight away, other than maybe just commentary on pop culture. I'm going to give a mission people can get behind a 3 out of 5. For interaction with his audience, he doesn't do lives, he's not deep in the comments, and so that interaction with audience is very low. I'm going to give, and maybe I'm wrong, but just from my research, I'm giving him a 2 out of 5 for interaction with audience. For consistency, 5 out of 5. Understanding audience needs and wants, I'm giving him a 5 out of 5. I think he's consistently creating bangers that people want to watch. For good, valuable content, I think he's doing thumbnails, intros, editing, very good. So I'm giving him a 5 out of 5. For width versus depth, I'm giving him a 3 out of 5 for width. He's getting quite a good amount of views. Not like consistently over 1 million or anything like that, but he is covering very wide topics. I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5 for that. For depth, I'm giving him a 3 out of 5 as well, because his videos aren't shallow by any means. They are well researched. So, yep. So number 3 on our creator, and now I'm going to start to get more rapid fire, unless I have a point to make. Ruslan with 687,000 subscribers. Overall, I'm giving him for his deep connection with his audience, I'm giving him a 39 out of 55. For Off the Curb Ministries, with a whopping 2.5 million subscribers, here's the scores he got for each thing, for each category, and overall he got 40 out of 55. For George Janko, come with a big 2.9 million subscribers. I was very surprised with my personal scores on George Janko. He has landed with a whopping 44 out of 55 when it comes to a deep connection with his audience. Now, Stephen Furtick, with a whopping 3.16 million subscribers, he has a deep relationship with his audience score of 49 out of 55. David Hernandez with 2.16 million subscribers, he comes in at 40 out of 55. Taylor Michael with 3 million subscribers, or 2.99 million subscribers, has a deep connection score of 26 out of 55. Dallas Jenkins from The Chosen has 3.04 million subscribers, and the deep connection with his audience, I'm giving it a 49 out of 55. Joe the Christian Guy with 1.3 million subscribers on Instagram, followers on Instagram, but close to 1 million on most of the platforms. I'm giving him a 35 out of 55. Now, the reason some of these creators had lower numbers, some of them were primarily shorts-based creators, and so the depth, when it comes to things like time spent, or authenticity, or personal transformation, interaction with audience, some of those metrics score low because it's hard. If you only have a minute to share something, it's hard to spend a lot of time with that person, and it's also hard to share your personality. It's hard to do all of these things well when you're primarily a short-based creator. Not to say that you can't develop a deep connection with your audience. I think if you begin to focus on getting better in all of the metrics I've laid out from 1 to 10, then I think you can improve your overall deep connection score with your audience. And so if I scored you low, don't take it as an insult or anything. Just take it as areas in which you can improve. Based on all of our data, if we judge the biggest creator by subscribers and subscriber count alone, then if you have 2 to 3 million subscribers or more, you are amongst the biggest Christian creators in the world. Out of my 10 that I've put here, that puts Stephen Furtick at the top of the list as the biggest Christian content creator in the world. But subscribers doesn't necessarily mean you're getting that much views. It doesn't mean that you're relevant either. You can have a high subscriber count but not be that relevant. Maybe you're losing subscribers every month. You might have 3 million subscribers and have very little views, or you might have 500,000 subscribers with heaps of views. So subscribers alone isn't the best metric for evaluating who is the biggest Christian content creator. So let's look at who is getting the most views. So if we look at view count, Mike Winger has, in the last year, so he's got 800,000 subscribers, but in the last year, he has had almost 50 million views. So, that's quite a lot of views. From subscriber to view ratio, he's doing great. What do you mean? You can see that in this last year, he has had 30 million views. So the subscriber to view ratio is very good, very healthy. Ruslan, again, he has 690,000 or close to 690,000 subscribers, but you can see that he has 44 million views in the last year. So the subscriber to view ratio, phenomenal. And you can also see whether long form views or short form views. So you can see Mike Winger, he's actually got quite a few short form views. So you can see the ratio. When it comes to depth of audience, that the more long form, the more deep. You can see, what do you mean? Primarily long form. So it's amazing. Ruslan, primarily long form. Off the Curb. So you can see Off the Curb Ministry he has 2.5 million subscribers, but he has almost 90 million views. So heaps of views, subscriber to view ratio, very healthy. We have George Janko. Now, this absolutely shocked my brain completely. 2.9 million subscribers, but 230 million views. But now we see why there's such high views. Heaps of it coming from shorts. Not a bad thing, because still getting heaps of long form views. But George Janko view-wise, massive. Stephen Furtick. So he's got 3.1 million subscribers, 40 million views. Very healthy, primarily long form views. So, very good. David Hernandez, 90 million views, very high. 2.1 million subscribers, 90 million views, very healthy view to subscriber ratio. Good mix of shorts and longs. So, very healthy views and subscriber. Talon Michael, 3 million subscribers or 2.99 million subscribers. However, only in the last year, only 6 or 7 million views, which is vastly lower than the other creators. And you can see in the year before, he had 40 million views. So something's happened where beyond a year ago, he had 40 million views. This year, he's only down to 7 million views. And you can see that 97.1% comes from shorts. So that's why he has a very low depth of relationship with his audience. You have The Chosen. Now, The Chosen is awesome. Chosen, 3 million subscribers, 145 million views. 66 million long form, which is awesome. 80 million shorts. So we'll see here, Joe the Christian Guy, 1.3 million long, but 145 million shorts views. Now with Joe the Christian Guy, he's primarily a shorts creator, which means that you can times his views by 3 because he's probably getting similar views on TikTok, Instagram as well, maybe even Facebook and YouTube. So being a shorts creator, if you're getting 100 million views each platform, you know that you're a massive creator. But your depth of relationship might not be as deep as someone who does long form. If we look at this, who has the most long form views out of all of the top 10? So Mike Winger, 27.6. What do you mean? 30.8. So what do you mean? Beating Ruslan, coming out on top so far with 37.9. Off the Curb Ministry, doubling that with 76.3 million long form views. George Janko, 34.1. Chris Furtick, 26.2. David Hernandez, 35.4 million. Lynn Michael, 200,000 views. Now, The Chosen coming out with long form views with a whopping 66.2 million, 1.3. So the top two is Chosen with 66.2 million and Off the Curb with 76.3 million. Now we know who has the most views. We have George Janko coming out on top overall for the past year, 235 million views, with The Chosen at 145 million views. So if you just went by view count, then George Janko comes out on top, but not all views are created equal. If we go by long form views, then surprisingly, Off the Curb Ministries comes out on top of long form views, with The Chosen coming just second with 66 million views. When it comes to depth of relationship, not all views are created equal. What we need to do is we need to judge their subscriber goal with their view count, with their deep relationship score, to evaluate holistically who is the biggest Christian content creator in the world. So the person with the highest deep relationship score on my list is Mike Winger with 50 out of 55, but George Janko and Dallas Jenkins are not that far behind with a 49 out of 55. So I would put George Janko and Dallas Jenkins as a bigger creator than Mike Winger, based on subscriber count and having similar deep relationship scores. Now, the only last metric we can use to evaluate who comes out on top between George Janko and The Chosen, the last metric we can look at is views. Now, who has the most views between George Janko and Dallas Jenkins? That's the only differentiating factor we can now look at to determine who is the biggest creator. But before we figure out who's the biggest creator between George and The Chosen, I just want to quickly tell you about the 5-day AI Viral Creator Challenge. Have you ever wanted to tell any kind of story, whether it be going into the depths of hell or to the heights of heaven? In this 5-day challenge, I want to help you increase your storytelling, increase your impact, and take you from zero to hero so that you can post your very first AI edit online. 2025 is the year for you to become the best Christian content creator you can be. So join the challenge. I can't wait to see you there. The link is in the description. Notice that Off the Curb Ministry actually has higher and the most long form views, but he falls shorter on the deep relationship score. Now, that's a possible trade-off you might make in the world of YouTube. You might want to have more reach width-wise and less depth. But if you want to be a great creator, what you want to do is something like Mike Winger, where you are trying to be as wide as possible, but maybe you don't reach as many people, only 800,000 subscribers, but you have a deep relationship score with those 800,000 people. So that's why Off the Curb, even though he's getting some of the most views as a Christian creator, I wouldn't say that he's the biggest when considering depth of audience as well. So now the competition lies between Dallas Jenkins and George Janko. Now, we are only evaluating Dallas Jenkins on a YouTube level. We're not counting the views that comes from streams as well from The Chosen and theater, plays, and that sort of thing. So, when it comes to who is the biggest Christian content creator in the world, I'm going to say that Dallas Jenkins and The Chosen win this competition. That might be surprising to you. Maybe you don't consider Dallas Jenkins a creator. I think that he is, because he is a personal brand. Dallas Jenkins, he's the face of The Chosen. He grew The Chosen using primarily social media and YouTube. Everything was done in a way that a creator would do it. And he is creating Christian content. He's creating a show about Jesus. So it would make sense that a show about Jesus would be the biggest Christian content creator channel in the world. And with millions of dollars and the team that he has, you shouldn't be shocked that Dallas Jenkins and The Chosen is the biggest Christian content creator in the world. But be encouraged that George Janko is like the second biggest content creator in the world, one of the biggest content creator, and all he's doing is having conversations with people on a regular basis. And then you have Mike Winger, who has a huge deep relationship score, and he's just talking from his bedroom. Let me know if you would score these people differently in the comments, but also score one of your favorite Christian creators and put them in the comments below. I would love to see who you guys are watching. Maybe you guys know someone that I have no idea about. There's so many people I could have talked about in this video, but I didn't want it to go even longer than it already has. If you're a small Christian content creator, make a deep connection with your audience the goal. Try and hit all of the 10 metrics as best as you can. And if you do all of that consistently, you will become a better creator and have more influence in the Christian content creator world. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode.